Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Keela Flores with IABC. Welcome to today's Solution Provider webinar, The State of Video and Corporate Communication in 2020. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. Feel free to submit written questions anytime by using the chat or Q&A windows. We will go over all questions at the end of the webinar. Our speaker today is Christian Rockwell. Christian is the CMO at Vbrick Systems and brings over 15 years of experience in the software industry, helping companies to leverage technology to drive business results. Christian has held strategy and marketing leadership positions at Sparta Systems, Inc., Misys PLC, Oracle, and Siebel Systems, Inc., and began his career in strategy consulting. Our sponsor today is Vbrick Systems, Inc. Founded in 1998, there are few companies in the market with more video experience than Vbrick. Vbrick has been a leader in the video space since its start. Their origin is codecs, video encoding, and editing. The Vbrick name originated from their encoders that lead the market. Today, they have harnessed their deep video streaming experience to deliver Rev, the industry-leading cloud-based enterprise video platform. Architected from the ground up as a cloud-native video solution and as the only first-party eCDN on the market, their unique end-to-end platform can be delivered as a cloud or cloud hybrid solution. And now I'd like to turn it over to Christian.
Thank you very much, and good morning or good afternoon to everybody on the phone, depending on what time zone you're in. On behalf of Vbrick and IABC, I just want to say we're excited to share with you the results of a recent study we conducted in partnership with IABC, really looking at how video is leveraged by the corporate communications today and what are the plans going into the future for video and how video can become a more strategic tool to engage and communicate. First, I'd like to step into a little context for everybody around trends to consider when we're thinking about video. And the first one really is looking at globally, video will be over 80% of all internet traffic by 2020. I think we can all agree that in our personal lives, we're seeing a lot more video in the social media world and in other channels, and that's really translating over to the volume of video that's happening in the business space. And to put a finer point on it, when you look at the volume of video that's being created, there's more video created every 30 days than television networks have produced in the past 30 years, created and uploaded to the internet than television networks have produced in the last 30 years. So that gives you an idea of the scale and volume of video that's happening out there in the personal and in the business space. And then another trend to really look at is the changing demographics of the workforce and looking at the growth of the millennial and Generation Z population as the baby boomers retire and millennials and Generation Z start to make up more of a percentage of the population. That's anticipated to be about 75% by 2025. And what does that mean? That means that technologies that those generations have grown up with will start and are starting to seep into the business world because those individuals really want to leverage the same technologies they use at home in the workplace. Some recent studies done of that population suggest that 87% of millennial execs believe that video has a significant and positive impact on company performance and employee performance. And then additionally, 60% of millennials would rather watch a video than review or read a company newsletter. So that gives you an idea of those generations and that growing part of the workforce and their adoption of technology and really looking at other non-traditional or non-historic means of communicating. Another thing we wanted to touch on is really what is enterprise video. And in this context, we're calling enterprise video on demand and live video broadcasting, so solutions that enable that, and really solutions that enable the capture, creation, management, publication, and distribution of video across a company's network as well as over the internet, but for B2B purposes. And really, we'll get into a little bit more of how those technologies really help enable the audience size as well as where people sit, whether they sit in a large office, small office, remote office, or sit, frankly, in their kitchen on their phone, as some of you may be doing right now. So let's step into the survey demographics, just to give you an idea of the population that we surveyed, and then we'll step into the findings. But a couple things, the majority of respondents were from North America, as you can see in the graph to the left. And in terms of the industries represented, I think we're fortunate to have a pretty good cross-section of industries with representation from telecom, education, government, technology, healthcare, financial services, manufacturing. So it gives us a good indicator of the breadth of video adoption across the enterprise. And then lastly, the role of people, of respondents, are they focusing on internal or external communications? And the majority, 72%, focus both on internal and external communication, so that gives us a good lens on how video is being adopted both internally and externally. So additionally, just to give you a little bit more flavor on the demographics of the survey respondents, in terms of the global headcount, another good cross-section of company sizes ranging from 1 to 500 employees to 8,000 employees plus. So it gives us a good indicator of how video is being adopted at various organization sizes, and we'll talk a little bit how some of the findings change depending on the organization size. And then in terms of job level, the majority of people in senior, middle, or intermediate roles, but some executive or C-level individuals, as well as some entry-level individuals. But again, a good representation in terms of the responses. And then lastly, your primary communications responsibility. So most of the respondents look at communication planning, employee engagement, managing all-hands meetings or town hall events. So the traditional corporate communications focus, as well as looking at external communications to investors and board and things such as crisis preparedness and corporate social responsibility. So a good collection of responsibilities within the corporate communications function. So now let's look at the findings themselves, and this survey was conducted over a number of weeks and working with IABC, and we collected, looking at all the respondents, collected all the information and cut and sliced it into various ways, and we want to walk through some of the summary findings of that right now. And looking at, the first question, do you use video to communicate internally? And in terms of the 77% of the respondents said yes, that they do use video to communicate internally. So that aligns with the current state of how people are looking at video and where they're using video, which is really the next question around how is video being used. Everybody sees video being used, but the real question is, and the real value comes, how is it being used today, and then how are corporate communications functions planning on using it going into the future. So the main use is when you look at the number of respondents and the concentration of respondents, the top main use case is promoting social learning, collaboration, and knowledge transfer, broadcasting live organizational events, which I think is a traditional use case, conducting CEO live broadcasts and announcements, and then recording and sharing team meetings and presentations, especially as companies have adopted unified communication and collaboration platforms like WebEx and Zoom and Microsoft solutions. But and then in addition, smaller organizations, 100 to 500 appear less likely to use video for corporate transition and communication, change management, recruiting, retention, and other purposes, which is reasonable and logical, in that the size of the organization and the geographic distribution of an organization can really impact how companies are exploring new technologies and how to take advantage of those technologies to connect and engage with employees. In terms of the amount of video use in corporate communications, this is an interesting metric in that 50% indicated that they have high or medium use of video, but then that also says that 50% have low use of video, which is understandable given that I think when you look at the adoption and maturity of video in the enterprise space, it is at an early stage of maturity, and as companies are trying to look at how they invest in video and how to get better return on video, there are companies that have varying degrees of use of video to support corporate communications, and those sort of more evolved or more sophisticated and larger organizations are adopting video more. Others, potentially as you get into smaller organizations, are adopting video less or video perhaps less across the enterprise. in terms of what are your biggest corporate communications challenges as it relates to video, this is an interesting overview. It highlights a lot of the key things that may be obstacles to companies adopting video, looking at finding time to create video. I think all corporate communications functions, there is not an abundance of time, so being able to find the time to create video. Video can be very labor intensive potentially, depending on the tools that you're using. And then additionally, having employee resources to conduct quality videos. So what tools are available to people, and then also what are the skill sets that people have to create videos. And we'll talk a little bit how, going back to that changing demographics and the millennial generation and the level of skills that those individuals bring to the table in order to help create video within an organization, so that they come prepared with a skill set that really enables them to take advantage of some of the technologies out there today to build video that can then support the overall agenda of the business. And then, third is finding budget for video. I think all functions across an organization, that's one of the main challenges in finding video, or finding budget to produce the video and also manage the video. So that's really where you start getting into the discussion about really wanting to maximize the return on video investments, because there is a scarcity of budget. And then also, when you look at, once video is created, how is video engaging people, and how are you measuring that? And that's an element of analytics that often does not exist in some of the free solutions. Let's say YouTube, the level of analytics that some of those solutions deliver don't really support an enterprise need to know who's watching, how long have they watched, when have they fallen off, to really see what level of engagement is happening in a video, which is critical in a corporate communication space, because you want to understand who's watching, when they're watching, where they're falling off, so are there certain points or certain messages, or is there a certain narrative that is captivating the employee base less than others. And then another critical element is really looking at distributing video. And when you see this list, distributing video so that employees can watch videos at their convenience, or ensuring that all employees can watch live events at the same time, or frankly, reaching employees who work from home with video, those are all elements of distribution which can be a challenge in the corporate space. Unlike over the internet, when you're watching Netflix or watching a YouTube video, or you're watching over the internet, on a corporate network, video is very bandwidth intensive. So companies need a solution to be able to really maximize and optimize the network performance so that people have the best viewing experience, and it doesn't have a negative impact on network performance for other core applications. And then if you go down, another point that is a challenge is really finding content within videos that have been made in the past. I think everybody has been involved in investing in creating videos that are for a particular purpose, and then potentially get saved somewhere, whether it be on a local drive or on a cloud drive, and it doesn't get used again or doesn't get reviewed again, but there may be important information in that video that can be used, whether it be for training purposes, whether it can be for additional communication purposes, and then sometimes companies may even go to the extent of reinventing the wheel and creating another video that is really saying the same thing, but it's because they can't find the previous video. So that drives the importance of how are solutions enabling and supporting the search of video and video content, so that you can really get the maximum amount of the investment in video. So in terms of looking into 2020, is there more or less use anticipated of video? And I think you can see resoundingly 76% said that they will be looking at using video more in their activities. And this aligns with research that indicates communications professionals are keenly aware of the power of video, and have almost started to reduce the use of other more traditional channels like newsletters, or frankly email and intranet updates, to really leverage the power of video and getting out there, whether it be live streaming or on-demand video, to allow people to consume the video content when and where they can or need to. Use cases in 2020 and beyond, looking into the future, there are a number of interesting use cases, from promoting social learning, collaboration, and knowledge transfer, replacing email with short videos. This is something that came out in the study that was very interesting, in that the traditional channel of email that companies have relied on, corporate communications executives and practitioners are really looking at what other technologies can be used to engage people, and video is one of those, and looking to use video as a replacement for email so that people can really be engaged. And then frankly also you can use the video and ideally reporting and analytics of video to get a better idea of how well that message is resonating with your employee base and how well that ties with employee engagement. Similarly, looking at conducting CEO live broadcasts and then contributing to recruitment and retention strategies. Video is becoming a lot more prevalent in the recruiting area and retention area, looking at things like Glassdoor as a platform. Companies are employing those platforms to create the image of the company and also illustrate engagement of employees within the company. And video is becoming much a window into those companies to give recruits or even employees a better idea of the culture of the company and the overall objectives of the company. So now let's turn to, we've talked a little bit about how video has been used, what the plans are for video to be used going forward. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the fundamentals of capturing and storing video, which are critical components of any video solution and any video strategy that a company may have. So, not surprisingly, the top ways that companies or corporate communications individuals are capturing video is via phone or professional video recorders. That's not surprising, especially given the technology that exists now within phones and smartphones. There's also third-party vendors. So there's a large business of an industry of companies that will come in and support either video creation, whether it be simple animated videos or talking head videos or case study videos, or even companies that will come in and produce a CEO live streaming town hall event very much in a studio environment. One area that's been growing, especially with the unified collaboration and communication solutions like WebEx and Zoom and the endpoints associated with those technologies, are things like conference room cameras and video endpoints. Companies have invested over the past 10 years a tremendous amount in those technologies, enabling conference room technology, so there are smart conference room, or enabling laptops or desk workers or even remote workers to be able to capture video. And those companies who have invested in that technology, especially the endpoint and conference room cameras, are really looking to increase the return on investment on those investments. And being able to leverage those to capture and create video is a double bonus. They are able to get better return out of those investments, in addition to democratizing the ability to generate video. More people are able to generate video. And then the next question is, once people are generating more video, how are you managing that video? How are you storing that video? Which is really the next point around, companies. And I think this really reflects the state of maturity of video. Many companies are leveraging internal network drives or free video platforms like YouTube or Vimeo, or content management systems like SharePoint. Those are, I think, show that companies are less mature in video. As they grow more mature and the volume of video increases, they're going to be faced with the issue of, I need to be able to search, I need to be able to find, I need to be able to tag by speaker, I need to be able to search by keyword or topic. Many of those solutions really don't support that type of activity. And additionally, things like free video platforms like YouTube do have security concerns. A lot of the corporate communications videos that may be created are internally focused, may have sensitive corporate information that you don't want out in the public market. So there is a security concern with leveraging channels like that or platforms like that. There's also a branding concern with some of the free video platforms, in that there is a plethora of ads that may be present on your channel, and that may distract or detract from the brand experience that you want. So having a dedicated platform really allows you to manage the message, manage the security, and also manage the brand and image of your company. There are other solutions like cloud storage has been a growing solution offering. Companies are employing that, or even laptops that people are saving videos locally. But all of this suggests that there really are silos of videos out there in the corporate communication space, and companies have not adopted a complete and comprehensive strategy for video content storage that allows uniform access to video or visibility to video that supports search and ultimately can also support the return on investment, so that you can make sure that you're taking a video and maybe embedding it into an LMS system for training and learning, or maybe embedding it into a CMS system for your website, or maybe embedding it into a CRM system for sales training. That's part of the video content storage requirement that is growing as companies develop video and they say, I've invested in this one video, but I have 4 uses for that video. How do I connect different systems so that I can have one place to store and manage the video, but then distribute or reveal that video in multiple channels or in multiple applications? And then how do I make sure that that platform is searchable, is integrated? How do I make sure that that platform is leveraging some of the cutting edge technologies such as artificial intelligence to be able to unlock the value that might be in a video, aid enhanced search within a video, so that you really can start creating more value from the video investments that you and your company have made. So in terms of the time and money on video in 2020 and beyond, I think uniformly all corporate communications responses suggest to the tune of 65% that more people will be investing time and money in video to support corporate communications. I think only 9% said they would be spending less, 26% saying they were spending the same. So when you factor the same and more, I think there's going to be a larger view into how video can be leveraged and the time and money spent on how to take more advantage of video in corporate communications. Then the next question is, where will video spend be focused? So going back to some of the challenges we talked about before, time to create video, having employee resources to create the video, distributing the video and managing the video, those are all where people are planning to spend their time and money in terms of investing in staff with video skill sets. And going back to the millennial and Generation Z discussion, 75% of millennials in a recent survey suggested they possess the proper skills for video production. So when those folks are doing that in their own lives, they're bringing that skill set to their companies and to their corporate communications roles, and that then enables the companies to take advantage of those skill sets to really deliver more video, create more video, and then it becomes a question of, once that video is created, how is it being created, whether it be via phone or via studio camera or via endpoint, and then what's the approval process that videos may go through so that companies can make sure that they're regulating and managing both the quality and message of the video. So how are solutions that are enabling enterprise video, how are those solutions supporting workflow so that people have visibility and can review and approve and edit videos that may be out there and available for publication to support corporate communications. So that brings us to the conclusion of the survey, and everybody who has registered for the webinar will receive a copy of the white paper that we published in combination with IABC on the video and on video use in corporate communications. But I think it's clear that 2020 and going forward promises to be an exciting year for video for corporate communications professionals. The organization changes across industries, the market dynamics, the technology changes and evolutions and new solutions that are out there available to corporate communications to help them leverage video in their roles. is growing every day and becoming more sophisticated every day. And this, the survey proves that communications employees are moving forward with video at a great rate, again, depending on the size and maturity of the organization, but I think universally everybody is exploring how video can be a viable tool and a very valuable tool for promoting the corporate communications agenda. And I think it speaks to, the survey also speaks to, while there's that need, there are the challenges of what technology is out there that can enable you to do that, what skill sets are out there, what budget is out there to really help you adopt technology to help drive and improve employee engagement, collaboration, communication across your enterprise. So we've talked hinted a little bit about enterprise video solutions as a means to help you drive your video strategy and enable and execute your video strategy. We wanted to provide a couple things to consider when you're looking at enterprise video platforms, especially in comparison to some of the other tools that may be out there, whether it be YouTube that companies may be adopting, or putting a website static or a video statically on an intranet site. So a couple things to consider from an enterprise video best practices and tips. A video platform really should be easy to use. As we talked about earlier, people are used to video, the video experience in Netflix, in YouTube, in Facebook even, and those same experiences are driving how B2B software is being used, not just in the video space, but frankly across all application categories. Social media and the user experience of social media is driving how, and gamification and things like that are driving how B2B applications are being designed, and video platforms aren't unique. They are looking at how to improve the ease of use and make sure that they're plug and play both across corporate systems or just when you log in to be able to use and understand how to navigate the system and use the system. Another key best practice or requirement for an enterprise video platform is really looking at scaling to reach audiences without impacting your network. So this, in the B2B space, the distribution or the network implications really cannot be underestimated. It's a big difference, as I said, between distributing video, Netflix, or YouTube over the internet. When you are delivering a CEO town hall over your corporate network, the visibility of failure there is very high, and you want everybody to be able to see and have the best viewing experience, whether they're sitting in a big corporate office or whether they're sitting in their home office or a remote location. Having a solution that really enables and helps you manage the distribution of that video is important, because if there is a degraded experience or viewing of that video, if there's buffering, if the audio doesn't work, then that's a missed opportunity to get that corporate communications message out there. And in terms of especially if that's a CEO message or an executive message or even a functional message a corporate message you want to get out there, you want to make sure that the delivery of the message does not impact the reception of the message and the engagement of the message. And then a third area is security for content that lies within the video, making sure that the video that you may be creating from a corporate communications function perspective may have sensitive data in it, may have data you want to make sure does not get out into the public domain, or you want to be able to just control it, or it's not important for the public domain. So having solutions that enable you to secure that content, but also make sure that that people can't hack into your video platform to get access to that content. Looking at what are the different security capabilities of platforms out in the marketplace to support that. Some organizations are more focused on security, like federal government, Department of Defense, financial services. Others are less so, but I would argue that over time, as companies become more and more mature, that everybody needs to be conscious and aware and look at security as a critical part of how they're managing and executing their video strategy. Another area that we're seeing more and more investment in is how are videos being integrated with other core business applications. So a company may invest in create a training video. How is that training video embedded in a learning management system? How is it embedded in a corporate website so that you're using a video platform to be able to manage and house the video content and then deliver that video content anywhere and to anyone at any time that you need, versus having these silos of videos sitting in different core applications or sitting in different cloud storage drives. That's where you create a problem in terms of getting better return and utility of your video investments. And then that leads us to, as we talked about, search for video. Companies are looking more and more, as the volume of video that they create increases, the need to be able to search and identify and evaluate and leverage that video becomes more and more important. You don't want to go creating videos because you couldn't find another video, or you want to be able to improve people's productivity so that when they are searching for video or video content, or when a particular speaker was saying a particular thing, they don't have to view hours of video that your company may have, versus leveraging artificial intelligence and other capabilities to say, I want to see all videos where person X said Y in the video, and then some solutions will take you directly to that point in that video to A, improve productivity of those employees who are searching for the video, and then B, make sure that you can take that video content and distribute that out to people that need it, where they need it, when they need it. So with that, I want to we talked a little bit about vBrick at the front, and spend a little bit more time introducing vBrick as a company. We have been in the video space for quite some time. We started in the encoder space, but then we have moved into and out of the encoder space and moved into the enterprise video platform space, both on-premise and now more predominantly in the cloud platform space. We enable the capturing, management, and distribution of video for corporations. Our Rev platform, that's our enterprise video platform, is the market leader. And when you look at across the use cases where companies are leveraging video, whether it be corporate communications, HR training, sales, IT, marketing, we work across organization sizes and across industries to really help companies reimagine video and really up their game in terms of how they're leveraging video to engage, communicate, and collaborate both with employees, prospects, customers, and partners. So with that, I know we've gone through a good amount of information in a short period of time, and like I said, the white paper summary of the findings will be going out to all registrants of the webinar. But I did want to open it up for a few minutes for questions from the audience to see if there were questions that people had about corporate communications or the use of video in corporate communications. So we'll take a pause now and see if there are questions that people may have as we'll review. You can submit the questions through Q&A, and we'll go through those, and if there are and we'll answer them until time ends. So starting off with questions that people have submitted. Do you have benchmark stats on average video views in a company? So that's something that we as a company do have the ability to measure. Our solution allows our customers to measure benchmark stats for within their own organization around videos that they have views and how long they've viewed. That's something we are working on building a benchmark dashboard so that companies can view what are similar stats across similar organizations. So that's something we are working on from a technology infrastructure perspective. But if there are, but offline, if you see an email there for the About Us page in front of you, if you have questions, you can certainly give us an email, and we will reply back with any particular material that we may have. Another question coming from Amy Wilson, our challenge is that we have a large workforce in China. What's the best way to deliver video to our employees given the Great Firewall? So that is, I think, a challenge for any company looking at trying to serve video into their employee base in China, where there certainly are network restrictions. That's something that I think we work with companies on from our distribution. It's really a company by company discussion from a technology perspective and what infrastructure, what network infrastructure you have. So that's certainly something that we work with other companies on who are looking to leverage video globally across their employee base, and that's something that we can certainly, if you're interested, have a more detailed discussion about your particular company's architecture environment and see what we might be able to do to support that. Another question, when will we have to feed the instant demand of phone, TikTok, workplace, live produced vids as compared to studio produced longer to make videos? So that, I think, is something that we are seeing develop each day in terms of as companies are using their own devices to create video. That's, I think, starts to become a video compliance and governance question in terms of what are the regulations and the compliance requirements within a particular company in how they want to deal with user-generated content. With all of that investment in technology, whether it be endpoints or phones, the amount of user-generated content in the workplace is beginning to increase dramatically day to day, and that's where companies are starting to look at how do we regulate that and how do we manage that, and then how are we distributing that and making that available within the various channels of a company, whether it be through an enterprise video platform, through an intranet, through a learning management system. So that is something that we're seeing. I don't think that that companies are being very cavalier about allowing for any video to be published. I think companies are trying to keep control of that, and then looking at things like TikTok, which has its own interesting stories in the media, more recently. Those are solutions that I think cutting-edge companies are starting to look at, but have not universally adopted, and I think in many cases are looking at with a wary eye just in terms of its application as a corporate system. So another question, when planning video production, does your research show how much the video quality matters? Yes, that is another element to when you talk about video quality. So I'll break that into two categories. There's video quality of content and video quality of distribution and delivery, or I'll put it in the broader category of experience. So you can certainly look at video quality of content and how important that is to video, the video viewing experience, and investing in good video content and good video presentation to make sure that the message is concise and it's directed to the audience that you want to reach. Those are critical. The other part of that, which is the distribution and the experience, so the buffering, the audio quality, you can see that very clearly when there is buffering or when there is low audio quality, the fall off rate of people viewing the video. That you can very easily see in metrics with various platforms that are out there, and vBrick Rev being the leading one, where you can see if you are experiencing network issues, what does that mean to the engagement of the audience within the videos that you have? So that very much builds the case for it's important and critical to manage the video distribution when you're trying to deliver video and make sure that you're engaging people. Another question, does the research indicate any concerns with the quality of video made by the communications team versus external suppliers who are video experts? Are we willing to use the quick video versus highly polished? I think this, working with customers, we've seen companies approaching video looking at what types of video are they trying to build, and there are certain types of video that lend themselves more to the quick, internally team-developed video versus the highly polished and produced video. So that really gets to what is your video strategy in terms of what types of videos are you creating and who are the audiences of those videos, and then really looking at what is the best means to create those videos, and really as part of the return on investment of video, what is the cost to develop those videos. Higher value CEO town hall videos or CEO message videos likely will get more production and more investment. versus potentially, as an example, a monthly departmental update that may be going out over video. And you frankly may want a little bit more sort of office engagement or sort of look and feel of a user-generated content just to show the intimacy of those types of communications and have it be relatable to people within the audience so that the message is more well received. Another question, does the research indicate any concerns with the quality of video made? Oh, sorry, that was the same question. We've been creating a lot of videos by our small corporate communications team. We have minimal experience in video production and editing, but make it work. It's obvious that it's not professionally done. We don't have the budget to use third-party vendors. Do you think using internally produced videos that aren't perfect are okay to use internally? What is your thinking? So that, again, is a sort of a similar question. I think it comes down to the types of videos and the audience that you're trying to reach and the message that you are trying to convey. In some cases, those team-developed internal videos are better suited for certain messages, and you may want to rely on that type of creation for certain messages because it shows a little bit more intimacy, a little bit more connection, a little bit more relatability of the content and frankly of the speaker who may be delivering the message or of the audience who's receiving the message, as opposed to other videos with where you may want them to be much more polished and much more produced than in order to convey the right message. So a question about, yes, the white paper will be available for use, so we will be sending that out to all registrants of the webinar, so you can take that, and we will also be having follow-up webinar series related to corporate communications and video, and really how companies are leveraging enterprise video platforms to really promote and drive the corporate communications agenda and improve and take corporate communications into the next generation of technology. Looking through some of the other questions, was there any information gathered about specific corporate communications individuals' title, role, responsible for supporting video shooting, production, publishing? We did not, as part of the survey, get into specific role identification, as in who was responsible for video production or management. I think that also, judging by our experience with our customer base, that depends on the size of the organization. Larger organizations obviously may have dedicated video teams, specifically even within corporate communications, that are charged with developing and managing and executing the video strategy as it supports the corporate communications agenda and the company's objectives. Smaller companies, you may see individuals sitting, the actual technologists or the people managing the creation of the video may sit in the IT department, but the content and overall strategy and direction is being driven by the corporate communications function. But so it really depends on the size of the organization and really the level of maturity that organization has in using technology. So I think the last question is, our people would like to do more video, and some already have, but how about ensuring that their videos meet some kind of standard in terms of quality and messaging? Monitoring this adds complexity and expense above and beyond the production costs. So that's where you get into some of the benefits that we mentioned earlier of adopting an enterprise video platform. If you are spending money on investing in creating videos that you then save to YouTube, you're probably working an offline approval process that is probably not measurable, not trackable, and probably very few have visibility to it potentially. Enterprise video platforms, on the other hand, allow you to create the video and then upload it and then identify individuals that need to review the video, and then you can leverage the search capabilities of the platform to get to specific points in the video that may potentially need to be reviewed, so you improve the overall efficiency of the review of the video to drive. So you're not only improving the efficiency of compliance, you're improving the compliance of the videos themselves. And then once the video content has been reviewed and approved, then it can be published into, whether it be published into the platform or frankly published into any system that that platform integrates with, like a learning management system. So that can come in handy when, let's say you have a number of training videos, you can use an enterprise video platform to manage the video content, the approval of the video content, and then just integrate that into the LMS systems or an intranet site or a CRM to be able to make sure that only the videos that have met compliance and met approval standards are the ones that are being distributed and viewed by your employee base. I think another question, one of our biggest challenges as a global organization of over 5,000 employees has been the translation into different languages. Is it time consuming? And it is time consuming and not timely. Any insight onto how other companies handle this challenge? So that is also something looking at. There are solutions like Rev that allow for transcription and translation of video content. So automatic translation of video, transcription and translation of video content as it's being produced, enables you to save time and money and also be able to reach a broader audience across multiple languages. So that, again, if you're producing a video offline and then saving it to YouTube, you're probably having to go through the additional expense of translating that video or transcribing that video and then translating that video into whatever your target languages are. Solutions, enterprise video platform solutions, can do that automatically as part of some of the AI capabilities that exist natively within those solutions, and that's certainly something that, if that is a challenge for your organization, that's certainly something that VBrick can help you address with Rev, and how you can leverage Rev to help you execute your video strategy and also help you make sure that you are reaching all of the employees across your organization across languages. So I think that was our last question. I don't think there are any further questions unless we want to open it up for anybody that has not posed a question yet.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Christian, for this great webinar. And I can just say, if anyone does have any questions that weren't addressed, or if you had any additional questions, definitely reach out to VBrick directly. And as Christian had noted, we will be sharing the recording and the slides and also the white paper that you can download to reference. So thank you again so much, Christian, and thank you to VBrick for today's webinar.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for your time and the information on the screen here. Please reach out to us on the phone or the email, or visit us at vbrick.com to learn more about how you can leverage our solutions to help you reimagine video and corporate communications.
Great, thank you to everyone. Have a great day.